much.
So one of the cool things that Matt talked about, we thought, was badging, and that was a hot topic throughout a lot of the people we talked to. So I got Scott and I thinking, what's kind of a unique way that you guys have maybe been given credit for something in your life? And it doesn't even have to be in school.
We did those the badges that we did internally, kind of like here's a badge for completing something, and you can what was that site, Scott? Credly, yeah. And so you could just give achievements and kind of kudos to your team and to your friends and whatever. And I thought that was kind of cool. Similar with like all those app bases where it's like you experience something and then you get a badge for it. They've got various like food and beverage sites like that. I think that's where you kind of like, oh, I've got to go to this spot to get the next badge. And I think that incentive program to get something always helps, because it translates back to, I think, what modern video games are with like Xbox and things, where you get achievement badges for how long you've played, for what you've played, for how far you've achieved. So it just brings that back into context.
I was in Boy Scouts for a while.
Yes.
A long time, actually. And
still in it.
I look really good in the uniform. But Wilderness Survival was one of my coolest ones. That was one I would like share with people like on a date. Hey, I have Wilderness Survival. Like if something crazy happens, I'm prepared, right? Or orienteering merit badge I have,
Yeah.
Citizenship in the nation. Like there are a lot of merit badges. I have 21 of them, right? Because that's what you need to be an Eagle Scout. I just totally dropped them. Eagle Scout, fellas.
So I still don't code very well, but there's a site Dash by General Assembly, and it's a way to learn code by kind of building a website step by step, and I'm gonna make awesome websites. But it's funny because over the course of this course you build a robot, and each time you learn a particular skill, it gives you a little badge within the website. It's pretty slick.
So obviously badging revolves a lot around recognition. And so another thing that we talked about a little bit was how well does your like college really recognize the things that you can do?
Well, and
like if you were to pull that out, like how well would that actually show?
Yeah, and
accomplishments?
It definitely wouldn't, right? And but no, that's why you talk about new upcoming culture and HR things, and Google's not even looking at your transcript anymore. They don't care about your degree. They care about your skills. So we're seeing that kind of truism. It's becoming that it's so much more about what you can do than what piece of paper you have.
Yeah, I mean that's honestly where our next guest is going, right? So we met with Dr. Tim Rhodus. He's on campus. He's a professor, and he really wanted to talk about how higher education as well as K-12 and corporate areas could use badging to show the credentials of a student or employee. So let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Tim Rhodus. I'm a professor in the Department of Horticulture and Crop Science at Ohio State University. Been here quite a while. I started working, though, back in 1994 on developing World Wide websites and setting up web servers. So I've been doing it for the department, I did it for the college, I've done it for my own teaching program, outreach education, professional society, so you could say I'm kind of the internet guy. But that's my niche in terms of horticulture. And so I look at creating systems that can then be accessed by the public, accessed by students, accessed by other faculty all across the U.S. So that's been my agenda.
So just a little experience.
Yes.
What is batching? I know it's something that you kind of have found a liking to, and what is badging?
Well, think of badging now as digital badging. And so while Boy Scouts continue to have badging and Girl Scouts and Brownie Scouts have badging, and Ohio State certainly has stickers that they put on their football helmets.
Yeah.
Other Ohio State teams also use that same sticker, but we just don't see it, like on the tennis court or the baseball field, but they have sticker opportunities as well. So digital badging is a way to establish and to visualize an expertise, an accomplishment, a skill, a performance, attendance at a particular event,
Sure.
that can then be verified. And that's the important thing. because I can verify that you claim you earned a particular badge, which indicated you had to meet certain criteria. I can verify that you, in fact, did get that badge on a certain date by the issuer that you claim.
Sure. And then is badging used outside of the classroom? Like, have you seen it used in maybe a corporate world or other places as well?
Badging is being used widely.
Okay.
Badging as far as the type of organization. So yes, in the corporate world. I have a friend who works for a company. This is a commercial company. He's a horticulture PhD,
Okay.
and he's a research scientist with that company. He's on the road a lot, but he received a badge. So their provider, their incentive plan provider, instituted a badging program.
Okay.
And he earned or was awarded the 250,000-mile safe driver badge. Now, does that give him $500 added addition to his paycheck? No, but it signals the beginning of, while we can have job performance and analytics, we can also have other kinds of recognition.
Sure.
The big thing being a lot of companies are considering badging for professional development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you get a certificate, that's recognizable. The supervisor, maybe if it's a technology-related certificate, network
Yeah.
training, your
Yeah.
supervisor or your IT manager is going to know you've got the necessary skills perhaps
Yeah.
to advance. Well, if it isn't as organized as a Microsoft networking technologist person, a certificate might be, but it's a badge for attending a training session by a technology company on the updates to our cameras, on the
Yeah.
updates to our editors. I mean, you're in AV world.
Yeah.
There's a lot of technology
Sure.
being advanced all the time.
Yeah.
How do you demonstrate you're on top of it as an employee?
Yeah, and that's a great example, especially for our high school teachers that are watching this and they're working on doing professional development in their own schools. And so maybe this is something that
Absolutely.
they can take back when they're doing professional development with their other teachers, a reward system
Right.
to kind of motivate them intrinsically to participate and kind of continue that development.
Right, whether it be in the classroom with students, which I think there is application which you do, as well as, like Scott said, with teachers on their
Yeah.
staff, it could be powerful. What's the most positive, when you're working with students, what do you think is so positive about using the badging in your classroom?
I think we're still at that early getting used to the idea.
Yeah, it's different.
Yes, it's very different. And the students in my classes are typically seniors. And I wish I was getting freshmen.
Okay.
Not only for creating the badging awareness and involvement with them and then letting them have 4 years of badges in their portfolio,
Sure.
but also in terms of creating the e-portfolio
Yeah.
project. And so I'm hitting them when it's all done and almost over with, they're about ready to graduate, and they never had an e-portfolio expectation. You take a class, you complete the assignments, maybe you keep the notebooks, you probably don't keep the textbook. What do you do with the assignments? It's a USB, it was a Word document.
Yeah.
It's on some flash drive that I can't use anymore. It quit working. It used to be on a floppy disk and I lost that. It's on a hard drive. I turned it in and I never got it back. Whatever.
Right.
That's the challenge. Those represent accomplishments, hopefully a good reflection on your
Yeah.
ability with a good piece of work. But we could have polished assignments from every instructor that kind of represent a good sampling and a cross-section of what it was you studied while attending Ohio State.
Yeah.
Because all you get to show for it, and while it's a good thing, is a degree and a transcript.
Yeah.
Where does it say you know about fill in the blank, a specific skill?
Yeah.
Internship, that's where you can gain some of those out-of-class experiences
Yeah.
and learn things other than in class. But then how does the internship get translated to the
Sure.
next employer?
Yeah.
A good interview, of course, will bring these things out.
Right.
But how can you share it in advance, or how can you share it at a distance
Right.
when you're not in the live one-on-one interview?
Yeah. Obviously, this is early on, so as you kind of pointed out before, it's going to take some time for students to really necessarily buy in or get comfortable. But have you gotten any feedback from students that you've done this in your class, and what kind of feedback have you gotten from them, maybe?
I asked students in my portfolio class to make a post in their portfolio describing the project, discussing the perceived value that they
Sure.
see for this as it unfolds down the road, and suggest other possibilities for expanding it. Now, expanding it in terms of earning opportunities. I made the proposal and received some university support for the pilot because I said, let's tie it to program assessment. And when we switched all of our majors over to semesters, we had to redefine our majors and
Right.
redefine all of our classes. And a piece of that, and many institutions, academic institutions, have done this forever and ever, is to identify learning goals and learning outcomes.
Right.
And so every course had to be identified, where do you plug into the learning outcomes and the learning objectives for the major. And what badges became then was kind of an easy thing to do. You know,
Right.
wherever we have a learning outcome and a criteria, a graded assignment that we are submitting up the chain of command for program assessment,
Right.
what percent of how well are we doing at meeting our goals and objectives, that's
Sure.
program assessment. But nothing came over to the student side. And so now if I hang a badge on that same activity, I can say the student is achieving. And so within our one major sustainable plant systems, if we have 20 different learning outcomes broadly defined,
Right.
and we have 20 or more assignments, suddenly now the student is painting and hanging on themselves all these badges
Right.
that speak to learning goals and outcomes with the name of particular assignments.
For sure.
And so they didn't have that before. And so that's one strategy for getting badges up and running in an academic environment, is look first at your goals and outcomes and where do course assignments fit.
If you could maybe reach out and say something to the teachers that are watching that are interested in this, what are maybe some of the first steps, or what are the first couple of things that they should do or think about to kind of start down this exciting road of
Right.
badging?
I have 2 web addresses where I've collected bibliography citations, direct online links, as well as some of our own project definition. As you know, we have the URL shortener go.osu.edu.
Right.
So if they would, I'd use go.osu.edu/more-about-badges,
Okay.
all one word, lowercase. And the second one, go.osu.edu/Buckeye badges,
Okay.
one word, all lowercase. And so those are shared and public notebooks on the Evernote system.
Okay.
And so we can easily add content to that to build that up. So it's not just a static text page, here's a bibliography, go find the stories yourself, but it's full of visuals. And so there's some interesting stories in there about the value of transcripts, or maybe not so valuable transcripts,
Okay.
as well as the different badging platforms, as well as the possibilities to implement your own in your class or for your school.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much,
Yeah,
Tim. We
thank you.
appreciate it, and I'm sure we may have some teachers reaching out to you for some more information yourself.
Oh, please do. Rhodus.1@osu.edu.
Perfect.